With Harry H Corbett and Steptoe and Son, the lovable chump comedy, one of the most enduring of British strains, flowered into dramatic art. With this, the writers Alan Simpson and Ray Galton shook off the last traces of conscious gag comedy. Now they were presenting the most difficult to write and the widest and deepest in appeal, the comedy that has a universally recognized emotional truth running through it. Corbett has described what he brings to Harold as emotion memory. After his mother died, he was brought up by a widowed aunt in a bleak Manchester slum. A visit to the opera house to see Leslie Henson awoke a wish to become an actor. But it wasn't until after the war and a succession of jobs that led nowhither that he got his first engagement with the Chorlton Repertory Company. He stayed with them 4 years. He became aware of his power to hold an audience. In 1952, Corbett met Joan Littlewood. He'd grown increasingly discontented with the stereotyped class characters in the Chorlton Rep's standby plays, and in Littlewood he recognized a liberating and exhilarating originality of mind. With a group of like-minded actors, they began the hand-to-mouth tour, which was to settle in London as the Theatre Workshop in Stratford. He swam into my orbit with a bunch of performances for armchair theatre. He established himself as a character actor whose work was rather more than dependable. You never got a generalization, a cliché from him. It was acting not from the neck up, but from a total engagement of body and brain. This was the style he'd worked at with Joan Littlewood and brought in 1961 to Steptoe and Son. The physical detail, the rakish cap, the scarf, the weighing hook on the belt, the boots, the flapping overcoat, these came from observation. The understanding came from emotion memory. The comedy comes out of the soaring and deflation basic to Galton and Simpson's style. It's the comedy of exaggeration, unexpectedness, incongruity, funny and sad, in the way that a homemade in memoriam poem is irresistibly funny and a true expression of grief. Corbett uses the reality and absurdity without letting go of either. His control of timing of the ingredients is, in fact, a masterpiece. He is the big spender, the wine and food expert, the connoisseur of birds. He rages and despairs against his father and the bars of his cage. The control of rages, the timing of the moment when that marvelously articulate face allows resignation and acceptance to venture onto its surface, has a precision that's only possible on television. The emotional truth, coming from deep inside the part, runs constantly between the lines. His grasp on Harold seems to begin at a point far back in his past. In 1959, Corbett appeared in a dramatization of Turgenev's The Torrents of Spring, playing the part of manager to his wife, a variety artist.
Well, I stayed on the button, son. Well, it's marvellous. That's what I like to see, boy. That's how we get on in this business. Are you feeling all right?
Oh, yes, I feel fine.
No strain, eh?
No.
Yeah, let's have a look. I don't want you going sick on me, you know. Of course not. Well, you know where you get your train, huh?
Yes, King's Cross.
Yeah, that's my boy. King's Cross. And there's the name of the theatre, Newcastle. It's not the Pleasure Gardens this week. That's next week. Huh? Yeah, that's the stage manager. He's the bloke you see to get your digs, all right? Now stay with it, son, stay with it.
Well, look, Sonny, aren't you coming with me?
Oh, boy, I've got lots of work to do, bags of work. I'll see you when you get back, though.
Yes, well, what about,
That's good. I know what you were bothered about. Money. You thought I'd forgotten, didn't you?
Oh.
No, you didn't. No, boy. You are. 1 week's money in advance. Now, what about it, eh? I got it in 5 fibres, son. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what about you? Try and change fivers on the train, eh? I thought of that, son. I got the rest of the expenses in one, you know. There's 1, 2, 3, Fort. Now listen, when you get on that train, boy, you spread yourself. You'll not have a meal, enjoy it. Now get yourself...
Well, I've got sandwiches.
Here, come on, I've got it.
Oh, you had a lovely dress on. Did you like it? Yes. May I have your
Look, will you leave your names there, and I'll send you all a picture. I've got to rush. Oh, Jamie, what a surprise. What are you doing here?
Well, I came down to see Sonny to arrange about the tickets and everything.
Just on his way to the train now, darling.
Well, why don't I give him a lift?
Oh, could you? Would you really? I mean, be so kind. Drop him off at the station.
Why doesn't he come all the way?
Oh, isn't she a darling? You're too kind. You are, really.
All right, Jamie, grab your bag. Come on, get it in the car and let's go.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, you're in, boy. Go on, chop on. You're the lucky one, eh? You're in. I'll give you 6 to 1. You don't make it before Newcastle.
You're on. Before Bradford.
Now, that was something rare for television. It was an experimental production. Can you tell us something about it?
It's only experimental in the sense that it was attacking a hardness that had come into television then, of the most directors wanting to basically be cinema directors. So they went the absolute opposite of the cinema in a sense. They stuck you on a spot. They rooted you to a spot, and they shot through your ear hole, they shot up your nose, they shot everywhere possible to shoot, and intercut, and you got a disjointed effect, you see. So I wanted to return almost, it sounds experimental, to the pure days of the early television, when the artist moved with the camera, was in rapport with the camera, moved round with the camera. And the only really basic experimental thing you can get out of that is the fact that it is a scene that needs to flow. Every nuance needs to be observed from everybody all the way around. Now, if you interrupt this with a close-up cut, and a close-up cut here, and a line is off the camera, that line will lose its import, the look will lose its import. Instead, we now have a flowing scene, a busy scene outside a stage door, which flows with movement, as in natural life, whereas otherwise, the three of us would have been stuck in the stage door, and there'd be camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, and we would have cut backward and forward and interrupted what would have been, and what I think is a very good flow of dialogue.
So the experiment was mainly concerned with the technique, not with the content?
Absolutely concerned with the technique. I was not interested in the content in the early days of that kind of thing.
Harry, what kind of script did you start with for Torrents of Spring?
The novel by Turgenev. We started basically with that. And then we did the dialogue, we improvised the dialogue. The dialogue was then taped all through the day. It was typed overnight, it was rushed back to us. That experiment, splendid for the time. But this was done by, Tony Policier, in the main, started the Langham Group. And his marvellous man, Mervyn, who was fantastic, who sort of built up a mock-up camera on the floor. So we could work for the first time on the floor with a mock-up camera. We'd never heard of. We still don't even get it now. We just have directors moving like this, and they do the best they can. But actually got the sense of feeling of moving with a camera, you see. It was the beginnings of what you say. You say that I'm known for working with cameras. Well, fine. You say actors are not known for working with cameras. Now, who the hell's going to teach them?
For many years in your life as an actor, you were connected and you were a member of an experimental theatre group, Theatre Workshop, which is now something of a legend. I know it's a very big subject, but could you tell us something about what Theatre Workshop meant to you as an actor?
It coincided with my first beginnings as an artist. I have to make this difference because, you see, first of all, you become an actor and you're thrilled. You're on that stage and you're having a go at all the things you wanted to have a go at, all the dreams you wanted to be. You're really enjoying it. And sometimes there's some of the dreams you don't want to be, but what does it matter? What the hell? You're having a great time getting out there and playing. Then you suddenly discover that the audience believes you. They believe you feel these things. They believe you really feel this thing you're playing. You represent it. And I found myself at one period in repertory, for example, I was playing working class men with big red spotted handkerchiefs and big old Jim moustaches down here, and all the maids had adenoids. This was in this kind of sophisticated type of play with French windows, and the fish tank down left and the tea and the drinks trolley over on the right, you see. And then I suddenly realised that I was playing to people who were of the same origin as myself, and they firmly believed that this is the way that working class people should be portrayed on the stage, even though they could see the evidence all around them was wrong and a lie. I wanted to get out of this completely. I searched around for somebody else who reflected my point of view, and Joan Littlewood was just starting Theatre Workshop then, and she held the same kind of views.
Where was that?
That was in Manchester.
Did you go to see her, or did she come to see you?
Joan never goes to see anybody. There's all sorts of devious ambassadors and ambassadresses come to see you with sort of little suggestions and things like that. She's a splendid human being, and as any rational, splendid human being can use every emotion she has got to blackmail you to get her point. Eventually we sort of both met after a cunningly contrived meeting by thousands of other people involved. In a little place, a little house, which was chock-a-block from top to bottom with actors and actresses, all in separate rooms, I might add, but chock-a-block with them, all starving. I remember I had managed to, after discussing it with her, knowing I was going on a very tough tour, I managed to save about £4.10 for a pair of snow boots, which we ate in the first 2 days because all the actors were broke and I was the only one with money. I was God for 2 days. It was a splendid feeling.
And what kind of plays were you doing? What kind of audiences were you getting?
Well, anything. If it walked and talked and would sit still for 10 minutes, we'd play to it. We were doing a tour of the Northeast in the middle of February, playing to miners, mainly, miners' welfare homes. We played Henry IV, Part 2, The Overcoat by Gogol, and a mining documentary, of all things, to miners. This was absolutely a splendid thing to do when we actually got out there, because it's really testing, you know, to play a piece of what you think is truth to people who experience it every day.
And this one-night stand touring lasted for, what, 3 or 4 years before Joan Littlewood finally found a home at Theatre Workshop?
Yeah, we did about 2 to 3 years. We went to Glasgow. We decided to form a base in Glasgow, and we had a lot of friends in Glasgow that helped. We played the Edinburgh Festival. Remember, we were pirates. We had to be. We don't know where we could exist.
And this was before finding your home at Stratford East?
Yes, this is well before that. That came, well, God sent it out of the blue. We were literally in the wilds of Scotland, broken down somewhere, you know, and we suddenly, somebody got the telegram and sort of train journeyed all the way up to say that the theatre was available. And so we took it. We were grateful. Grateful is not the word. I mean, we played to 12 people in the middle of winter, and I followed the lady stripped by bullets, he said in my dressing room. That was the show the week before, in Twelfth Night, in which I played Ague Chick. Because imagine the fun we had. It was hysterical. Because I mean, Malvolio kept getting sweets thrown at him, which was a mark of favour, you see, from the crowd who was used to going there. We walked into this freewheeling atmosphere of the East End theatre, run down, disreputable, but it suited our sort of atmosphere perfectly, because we wanted to work in the run down, the disrespectable, the cocking the snoot, you see.
Can you tell us about some of the parts and some of the plays you did during this period at the Theatre Workshop?
We did Twelfth Night, Volpone, The Dutch Courtesan. Then we did Hobson's Choice. Not Hobson's Choice. Yes, Hobson's Choice. We did what we considered were the classics of a certain period. Mixed in, didn't care. We were doing classical season, nothing to be announced, this is our classical. We just threw them on, gave them a new slant. We even took what we thought were classics of the 30s American era. We took Three Men on a Horse. And this was an absolutely magnificent thing, because we put cartoons in the background, you see, slid them in, gave new staging, a new life. The Good Soldier Schweik. Innumerable plays. Shore, practically every shore we could lay our hands on. New plays. We did musicals of the area. We did a thing. Well, there was a train strike on. We did one about the train strike just down the way.
Brilliant Richard II at this time.
It was one of the happiest plays I've ever been in, Richard II. A silly thing to say, and I don't mean that in that twee way. God, we were all lovely with each other. I mean, pure and simply, that the greatest joy for me, and a lot of the actors I've worked with, is rehearsals. Oh, that's when it's fantastic. It begins. You create. See, the terrible thing about our business is it's recreation. You see, you create it in the rehearsal, and it's splendid. Then you spend ages and ages through the run of the play trying to recreate that first beautiful savage getting the idea, you see. And in Richard II, we did brilliant research. Richard was treated horribly. And he's a man who fought off his final assassinators completely. You know, we took an axe off one, slashed them to death, hacked away at them. A brilliant man, who was then taken out after being killed and sat in a chair, and the public filed past, and they spat at him. So, on the grounds of this, I can see the man must have been terribly, badly treated, and I had him chained to the floor with an ankle chain, and that was his world, his little circles. All this man had left was this terrifying little world, you see, who had turned religio-maniac. He does, at one point of the play, he says, we must find a new world's crown, which our perverse hours here have stricken down, you see. This feeling of the turning into the sackcloth and the ashes on the hair, leaving the old world behind. Makes for a startling difference to the usual way I'd envisaged the part myself. I'd envisaged it, silks and gowns, and everybody's lovely, and it's all the verse, you see, and it's beautifully done. And then you get it down to the horrifying reality of the grey and stone wall. But the man is saying, if only my fingernails could rip through the cages of these walls. And we tried to create the walls, you see. It was a fantastic experience. It was the happiest.
Now, there's no doubt in my mind, at least, that Joan Littlewood, and you'd probably agree, is and was one of the greatest directors, theatre directors in the 20th century.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us something about the way she worked?
Her work evolved from herself and experiences she went through. It's just terribly difficult to describe. I can only say it in a cliche form. Simplicity. The hardest thing in the world to get. This is genius, surely, is the simplicity of seeing the thing in its simplest context. Everybody's putting forward subtle reasons why the character is this, why the man should do this, why the world is like this. And she can put forward the simple reason that counts, the point of the whole.
Outside views of Theatre Workshop varied between that it was something like a cross between a concentration camp and a trade union meeting. I think it's very important to correct some of these views, especially of the profession, which never really liked her very much.
You know, the most precious thing we have is time. We have so little. There is no time for champagne. There's very little time for nightclubs, even when you're a so-called success. And the kind of thing we were doing was 24 hours a day. As soon as I would rehearse 4 hours in the morning on Volpone, 4 hours in the afternoon on Volpone. I'd go on and play 3 hours of Richard II, pretty tough. As soon as the curtain dropped, I would be starting at 11 o'clock the first fencing lessons. Now, this gave a concentration camp atmosphere of its own. You see, what was most important was the stress on the fact that you fight for your character. It's not all beautifully drilled. Your character now, after your partner, it was straight in there. Believe in the man. Not that I'd ever want to play the man, but if you played Hitler, the first premise is you must love the character. You've got to learn to love him, or you can't play him. Find out what the character is and get on that stage and fight for him, because if you didn't, you'd get trampled under the rush of everybody else fighting for it, believe me.
How did she begin to tackle a play?
The start lay perhaps in the auditions for this kind of thing with Joan, in which she would sit out there and people would come along with beautifully prepared pieces, and she would throw at them right. Have you seen any of the theatre workshops production? Man would say, yes, I saw last night's piece of work. What do you think of it? Quite good, right. Well, be a char lady. Telling me about last night's production. This would throw the actor completely. He'd have to improvise. And he thought, this is where he got annoyed, because he thought this was going to the usual stupid method nonsense that's flooded the market. And, you know, this was only to find out his imagination. You see, an actor must be a good liar. A fantastic liar. Give me the man who can stand up in the middle of a football crowd and start saying, Millwell was shocking last night. Really shocking. Nobody's ever heard of Millwell. But before half the crowd is around listening, now he's an actor. He's got to be able to lie truthfully. He's got to have a fantastic imagination, you see, to supply what the authors left out. And that's the beginnings of Jones' work, would be get that imagination working, throw the tricks away. Let's see the you, what you want to do. What are you capable of? Are you trained yet? What is the lapse between thinking the thought here and the hand carrying it out? One thing that did come out of the theatre workshop was truth. Absolute searching truth, you see. Then this truth tailored to a medium known as the theatre, in which the huge gesture is used so it can be seen, you see. The nod and the wink wouldn't suffice. And sometimes one had to sacrifice truth for the presentation of the theatrical fact. And television allowed me to really use this truth.
You were playing Macbeth when the invitation came to play Steptoe. Can you tell us something about that?
Well, not really. I'd had I don't know, I'd had sort of a bad mental time, I think. I wasn't going bonkers, but I had a lot of strain, a lot of overwork, and I was sick of being under the London critical eye, you see. And the opportunity came up, and I was very grateful at the time because it helped me enormously, to play at the Bristol Old Vic. And I got the opportunity to do a season there. Prior to this, I had met Galton and Simpson slightly and told them how much I really admired their work, and I really did, and said if ever they felt like writing anything separate from, because I never envisaged in 1,000 years going over into light entertainment. I then looked at television, and all I saw that was making any kind of good, what's the word, social comment, though I hate it, was the Hancocks, the Eric Sykes, this kind of half-hour comedy program, you see. And, I did envy them. So they remembered this conversation, obviously. They took me at my word, and this thing about the rag and bone men thumped through the door. I read it and immediately wired back. Delicious, delightful, cannot wait to work on it, you see.
Well, let's take a look at one of those first Steptoes.
Oh, Stoof, yes.
This is an extract from one of the very first ones, called The Bird, in which you are expecting a girlfriend.
Oh, no, I can't remember.
Hurry up, Dad. Roxanne will be here in a minute.
About time, too. She's late. Should have been here at 7:30.
Yeah, Dad, what do you think we ought to have with the fish and chips? The hot or the pretty fish?
I don't mind. Any colour'll do me.
He's got to let me down. I can see it a mile off.
That Bramble is fantastic. He really is. And I'm not giving him a plug, I'm telling you. You see the contact there between us? You see his eyes already, you know what I mean? He's fantastic, that boy, really fantastic. Great to work with.
What did you first think about this part when you read the first script? Did it look easy to you to play?
Yes. Yes. With that ease that comes with, my God, this is brilliance. You see, good work is always easy.
You wanted to play it?
Yes, and you don't have to learn the lines even. They're there, they're right. They're the lines you should say. I mean, look, all that is down to Galton and Simpson. Those words.
Had they written it with you in mind?
No. That's, well, not me, because they didn't know anything about me. They had written, as every good writer writes, they had written a character, you see. And that was it. I fitted in, examined it. Actually, what they had written, I must say, was slightly wrong. I looked at it, And we both learned from each other, you know, in this relationship, Galton Simpson and I, and Bramble, and Duncan Woods, a very brilliant director. For example, the old man was said, he was 85. I was 70. Now, this is splendid, but it would have been no involvement by the audience, you see, because everybody would have sat back and would have said, ah, look at those two splendid old men. Ah, what lovely old men. But when I'd said lines like, I didn't get rickets through overeating, did I? That wouldn't have gone over. They'd have said, oh, what a lovely old man saying that. When a 37, 8-year-old man says that kind of thing, it's getting through to a majority population in a power position of 38. So it stops them just laughing at the images of old men, you see. So I said, no, we must shift the ages down. And a few more touches like that, but they're only touches. So then we began this relationship between us of getting the points over. He says, Dragon Bowman didn't mean a thing. I wasn't interested in a documentary about Dragon Bowman. Never have been. I don't give a damn whether the prices are right, wrong, or otherwise. That's dismissed. That's thrown out of the window. It just gives a perfect format and a setup to range and slash all over the place, you see. I mean, Harold is taking, the domestic work is over and done with in 5 or 10 minutes. It's all about politics, about sex, about general economics, about 1,001 things there, about the church, about anything you wish to mention, but it's certainly not about the rag and bone business. Now, none of that, surprisingly enough, relies on double takes, pratfalls, joey, grimaces, or whatever you wish to call them. They rely on words and timing. Do you notice the pace of that? Very, very delightfully slow and truthful to the subject matter.
Did you play with a studio audience?
Yes. Yes, for the first time I got quite a shock when I first played with them. But I didn't find them getting in the way.
It didn't create a problem as to whether you were playing to the camera or the audience?
No, not at all. Because I can, to a certain extent, assume where the laugh points, or the ones I want to be, are going to be, you see. I mean, surely the lift of an eyebrow or the twist of a face can get a laugh on a fairly serious line, if you wish to. And it's the control of this, the plan. That's why I say, look at the contact between Willie and I. Willie is holding it because the point has to go over without the laugh getting in the way. I am holding back, and certain things. And remember, what is the level? The dialogue isn't screamed out. The level is, what? Yes. Oh, you do look nice. Mm. Oh, very nice. And the level is like that. And you've got gales sometimes of laughter, so it takes playing. The thing must go over, but not look as if we are shouting over your laugh to get it over.
There's a terrific confidence there about what you're doing all the time. You seem to know exactly where the cameras are, for instance. Did you discuss the shots with the director? Did you always know where the cameras were at any one time?
Yes, terrifyingly important. Oh, yes. You could say this is being camera conscious if you wish, but it's terrifyingly important to know that camera is, sort of there all the time. Otherwise, I won't get freedom, funnily enough, you see.
Let's look at another scene from Steptoe and Son, which was some 2 years later. Now, this is from Steptoe à la carte. Now, the situation is very similar. Again, you're waiting for a girlfriend to arrive.
If you don't keep your chopper hole shut, I shall fetch you.
What do you want to learn French for? What are you trying to do anyway? Get us into the common market? Going to take Mr. Heath's place, are you? Or are you going trotting around Paris, you great fairy?
Oh, you're so superior, aren't you? I mean, you know it all, don't you? Oh, there's no need for you to bother with anything like this. No doubt you are fluent. I mean, those 4 years you spent in France must have left you completely bilingual.
Well,
not to mention the week you had in the transit camp in Holland. You must have had Dutch off by the Tuesday. And he was in the army of occupation for a few days. That took care of a German, didn't it? Oh, it must be like the Tower of Babel in your head. Yeah. Oh, how fortunate it has been for me to have such a brilliant father.
What an help he's been to me. Oh, I would have been no one but for him.
Thank you, Father. Now may I, with your kind permission, proceed with my rather futile attempts to reach the same heights of linguistic ability as your good self? And if you wouldn't mind for mazing Laporte on your way out. I mean, I've only got half an hour to get this record up before I meet Monique. Who? Monique.
Ah. So it's a French bird, is it?
Yes, it is.
Would you like to compare those two in any way, do you think? Were they different? The character stayed remarkably consistent over a very long period.
This is the first time I've ever actually seen them, and the first time I was get over the shock of seeing them.
You don't often see your
No.
television work?
No, not at all, because Harold looks nothing like that to me, at all. I can see me in there, you see. So I envisage in my mind's eye what the author intended this man to be. And now the author is stuck with me, you see. Now, does the character change at all? He does. But he changes in the sense that they wrote further facets of the same man. Let's take the first meeting with the girl, you know. She's a French au pair, you see. Now, with Harold, when you actually see him meet the girl in the things we did, you saw his normal reaction to sex. First of all, there was, oh, I'm writing it here. Next you get, with Harold, the character is trying to evolve within himself, the excusing of this on the grounds of, no, this is love. First of all, there's sex. And after that, there's a conscience thing that makes him change it. It's got to be love. Consequently, that is an attempt that he's going to learn French, you see. Completely be French. And that would be the end of it for the evening. He sat down with a French record. He's going to learn French. He's going to have a few words ready. He's going to do this marvellous thing. But as ever, the old man puts his oar into it, you see. Which makes Harold have to defend why he's learning French, you see. Because he then is beginning, and this is the only way you can show it, he's beginning the retranslation of this world into the dream world after the sex. Oh, yes, she'll have a chateau over there. Of course, I'll work you in if I can. I'll stick you up in the old tower up there, and I'll be running around looking after the vineyards and the estate. Oh, it's the old man that started this. This is Harold's reply in the fight with the old man. Whether or not you saw it in that, there was a couple of the moments of what I was talking about. Those sort of reaction shots are there. When the old man says, you're going to get us into the common market, and he says, you're great fairy. In there, you've got, well, the feeling I had, I remember quite distinctly at the time, whether you saw it or not, I don't know, because I'm too overwhelmed with seeing it. You've got a reply which is going to say, oh, you're a real swear word, or you silly old nit, but he knows he daren't say it, because that'll start them off on a completely different tack of argument, which the old man is after. So he swallows it back. But that all happens in a reaction shot of turning over from a table and saying, now listen, and he goes back onto the tack. However it is done, however badly well it is done, that reaction must be written in, do you see?
In fact, this is a common element in the conflict between you two, which is Harold's middle-class aspirations, which are mocked by the father.
Yes, yes, I would agree with that. But that again is your and the general viewer's right to call it whatever you will. If you, I still, you see, this is what I mean about getting there, fight for your character, lad, when they're treading on it. You see, I can't think of it like that. That's why I don't discuss it really if I was to play it properly.
Sure,
because
no.
see, Harold doesn't think of it as middle class. He thinks of this as beyond, because he will discuss the middle class and the bourgeois and how middle class can you be while he's carrying out middle class aspirations, possibly. Do you see what I mean? But I could never admit to that as an actor and as Harold myself. No, this is not middle class. This is what I was made for. It was an accident. You ever had me, let's face it. I mean, I'm sure there was a mix-up in the hospital beds. I was really made to chump round the old vineyards there and sniff the grape and say a little too far up the hillside. You know, that's what I was really made for. This is hardly middle class, in Harold's estimation, anyway.
Now, we're going to have a look at a clip from a film you once made called Rattle of a Simple Man. Oh, yeah. And in this scene, you've come down to London from Manchester for the cup final. And after the match, you go to a strip club in Soho, and for a bet, you pick up a girl.
Oh, yeah.
The girl's played by Deanne Shalenta.
What are they waiting for?
Who? Oh, that's just Ginger and the lads.
Why do they call him Ginger? His hair's brown.
Because he's hot stuff with the girls.
Oh, he is he?
Oh, I've been waiting weeks for this trip. Butterflies in the stomach. It's
we come up here every year, and it's always the same. As soon as the match is over and Saturday's finished, it's all dead for me. It's all over so soon.
Is it?
Well, there's the coach at midnight, getting all cold and Sunday-ish. And all the chaps bragging about the beer they've drunk and the women they've met. And then there's the long drive home with the headache. And not that I'm grumbling, you understand. When I'm an happy man, oh, I'm a very happy man.
But nothing to brag about, huh?
Oh, I do my share.
Then you'll need something to brag about tonight, won't you? What do you say?
You mean it?
Why not?
Well, I don't know. You.
Okay, then it's settled.
And Percy gets the girl that time.
Yeah, thank you.
You made this film after you had done some Steptoes.
Yes, that's true.
So you must have been concerned about not being typecast and in trying to make Percy in that film different from Harold Steptoe.
And the problem there wasn't so much to keep him away from Harold Steptoe, as something I failed in miserably, now I see it. It's to keep him away from going too far into what I know about the North, what I know about these lads, you see. See, there are varying accents around Manchester. There isn't a Manchester accent. There's Rochdale, there's Failsworth. There's so many around, you see. And I tried to get this certain accent, which comes from a certain area, which is emasculated, which is back in the throat, which is almost a feminine type of accent, you see, which would suit the part, because the accent is a weapon for the particular part. Also was to get away from the demotic, that is the town language, you see, which has been derived at by screaming over machines and cutting off and glottal stopping the ends of words, you see, because you can get from Blackburn and places like that around there a delightful, almost South Country burr. The ends of the words are sounded and all the R's are rolled, you know, and it's a beautiful language, and very smooth and rich, you see. Now, of course, because of confusion's sake, dialectically, I had to sort of keep, you know, from a dialect point of view, I had to keep away as much as possible. I failed miserably. It controlled me too much. But the problem certainly wasn't Harold, because this man's problem is essentially totally different than Harold's. Harold is certainly in no wise effeminate through the influence of a father. On the contrary, he was awful. You know, he couldn't wait to get hold of a girl and get upstairs, you see. This boy had got the absolute opposite point of view. He'd been brought up by a mother, tightly controlled all the time, and he'd really pushed it all into a motorbike, and he was happy that way.
Do you like working in films? I mean, rehearsal time, for instance. How much rehearsal time did you get for that scene?
Oh, God, you've gone straight to the point. That's it. It's terrifying working in films. I don't like... It's not a question of me hating the medium. I formed a way of life in acting that requires rehearsal, polishing. I can't give an instant characterization just like that, and that's what I'm required to do. Well, it's definitely bad for me, because I've either got it in the first take, or it'll take you to about 39 before I get anywhere near again, you see. It's the business of creating from inside and spending the rest of the time trying to recreate that marvellous thing you had.
But why do you get it the first time and not the sixth time, which is more usual?
Intuition. Intuition inside, which helps you to skate over. Inspiration helps you to gloss over the facts. And you use tricks. You see, there again, I could have done this if I'd have come straight out of rep with my tricks, my bag of tricks. Because in repertory, I used to be brilliant at home. I would get the script. I'd see the parts. I'd learn it. All the movements. A matchbox would be crushed at the right moment if I was saying, like an eggshell. You see, brilliant. I'd go in with it. And I'd be very hurt if other actors had done the same thing. And we got no point of contact like Willie and I have got, you see. Because I refuse to listen to what they're saying. They're saying an entirely different intonation to what I'd expected. And it's just too bad, because my reply is going to be this way. Then I began to become an actor. I threw all this away. And I now go in, at this stage, knowing my play, not learning it, but knowing my play, knowing what it's about, knowing what I'm going to do. And on the floor, I learn the play. I'm free. If Wilfred throws me a line a certain way, it'll shake me and I have to reply. This is known as contact, you see. But of course, there's not much time for this kind of thing in film. Well, not for me anyway. There might be for other actors, but it's just... I've either got to go home and work on it all night and take not a blind bit of notice of what anybody else is going to say to me on the set. Consequently, I'm going to be hard, factual, technically brilliant. Or else I get in this terrible mess of trying to have the best of both worlds, and I get in a terrible mess, you see, waiting to discover what it's about. By the time I've discovered what it's about, it's over. We've wrapped up.
Do you miss the theatre at all, Harry?
No, not one little bit. You see, we go through phases. I'm talking as an individual now. We go through phases in life. You don't give up the theatre gives up you. At the moment, it is basically giving up me because it's going through a phase which I admire an awful lot, but I'm not terribly interested in playing in. I can't quite describe it, but the plays I have seen, I have felt splendid, but I don't wish to be in them. Not that I meant into them, or on any model, on any other point of view. It's just I still love the epic. See, that's it, you see, it's all failure. It took me, how many years in television to get onto Steptoe? It'll take me a lot longer, possibly for all I know, to bring back something else as successful. But I shall keep trying, and I shall keep failing. And we must leave room for failure in television. Please leave us room to fail. Please give us the chance. Otherwise, we're going to just give you the same turgid nonsense all the time. Or give us somewhere we can fail.